Yesterday, at last, we started to explore chapter 6, right mindfulness. We read 3 paragraphs. Not the easiest one to understand, but it's an important one to understand. The first one starts with saying that the Dharma can be realized within ourselves. Can, C-A-N. The second paragraph says that to realize the insight, to realize wisdom within ourselves, we have to make use of mindfulness. The third paragraph, we start to explore deeper how our usual mode of cognizing works. When we don't have mindfulness, how does our process of the mind works? The cognitive process. And Saikyang suggested an exercise of looking, which probably we can share a little bit at the end later, maybe, if we have some time. Let's continue reading first. The Buddha calls this process of mental construction papancha, elaboration, embellishment, or conceptual proliferation. The elaborations block out the presentational immediacy of phenomena. They let us know the object only at a distance, not as it really is. But the elaborations do not only screen cognition, they also serve as a basis for projections. The deluded mind, cloaked in ignorance, projects its own internal constructs outwardly, ascribing them to the object as if they really belong to it. As a result, what we know as the final object of cognition, what we use as the basis for our values, plans, and actions is a patchwork product, not the original article. To be sure, the product is not wholly illusion, not sheer fantasy. It takes what is given in it, immediate experience as its groundwork and raw material. But along with this, it includes something else, the embellishments fabricated by the mind. Okay, let's read one more paragraph and then we'll go back to this paragraph. Brother Waken, would you like to read?
The springs for this process of fabrication, hidden from view, are the latent defilements. The defilements create the embellishments, project them outwardly, and use them as hooks for coming to the surface, where they cause further distortion. To correct the erroneous notions is the task of wisdom, but for wisdom to discharge its work effectively, it needs direct access to the object as it is in itself, uncluttered by the conceptual elaborations. The task of right mindfulness is to clear up the cognitive field. Mindfulness brings to light experience in its pure immediacy. It reveals the object as it is before it has been plastered over with conceptual paint, overlaid with interpretations. To practice mindfulness is thus a matter not so much of doing, but of undoing, not thinking, not judging, not associating, not planning, not imagining, not wishing. All these doings of ours are modes of interference, ways the mind manipulates experience and tries to establish its dominance. Mindfulness undoes the knots and tangles of these doings by simply noting. It does nothing but note, watching each occasion of experience as it arises, stands, and passes away. In the watching, there is no room for clinging, no compulsion to saddle things with our desires. There is only a sustained contemplation of experience in its bare immediacy, carefully and precisely and persistently.
Oops, I'm muted. Thanks, Waken. Okay, where were we? Okay, let's go back again to this paragraph and try to understand. This process of mental construction, the Buddha calls it papancha, elaboration, embellishment, conceptual proliferation. Okay, let's take a look. Proliferation, to increase in number, multiply. The elaborations block out the presentational immediacy of phenomena. They let us know the object only at a distance, not as it really is. Presentational immediacy of phenomena. What does this mean? This means that whatever we see, like very briefly at a glance, like whatever comes to our field of vision, let's say, for example, this is the presentational immediacy of phenomena. But the moment I interpret this, I already embellish this with these constructions, this elaboration, papancha. The moment I interpret this as a remote control of my aircon, and further to add on to spin stories like, oh, with this remote, I can make myself comfortable. This remote is like my remote. It can makes my life better by not letting me having a hot weather, or I don't have to, sweat because of the hot weather. Yeah. So I start to adding on stories, spin stories. Yeah, so it's not its presentational immediacy of phenomena anymore. But the elaboration do not only screen cognition, they also serve as a basis for projections. This is interesting. The deluded mind, cloaked in ignorance, projects its own internal constructs outwardly, ascribing them to the object as if they really belonged to it. Yeah, ascribing the internal constructs to the object as if they really belong to it. So how do we understand this sentence? We project our own embellishments, our internal constructs, and then we thought it is directly ascribed to the objects. As if, let's say, for example, the phone, and then I started to embellish some stories. The phone can do a lot of stuff. It can connect with my friends. Yeah, this is my phone. And then I ascribe as if all these characters belong to the phone. Yeah, this is how I understand this line. As a result, what we know as the final object of cognition, what we use as the basis for our values, plans, and actions is a patchwork of product, not just the original article. It has been added on by our minds, all our stories, embellishments, all our mental constructs. Yeah. So we don't really see the what is the original article of the phone, what is the characteristic of the phone. Okay, this one, we step back a little bit to be sure this product, this phone, is not wholly illusion. It's not all imagination, not sheer fantasy. It takes what is given in its immediate experience as its groundwork and raw material. This is the raw material. But along with this, along with the phone, it includes something else, the embellishments fabricated by the mind. So every story that comes with a phone is fabricated by the mind. Yeah. And this story is also unique to me because all of you have different phones. So you will not have the same story with this phone. But each of you will have your own story with your own objects. Yeah. If you have your own phone, you will have your own embellishments and mental constructs. This is how I can understand this paragraph. Any questions or comments? Anything that's not clear? Yeah, I think to really understand it, you have to reread multiple times, and then after you read, you can raise up the questions again. Okay, Sister Billy.
Yeah, struggle a bit with that line that says the deluded mind, clothed in ignorance, projects its own internal constructs outwardly as the final, outwardly ascribing them to the object as if they really belong to it. I'm stuck at the word belong, right? Because I'm thinking, how do then my internal constructs belong to something that is external? So maybe it's just the word belong.
Yeah, the thing is, this sentence is not elaborated further, but how I understand this is, okay, let's see, let's identify what is them here. Ascribing them, I think this refers to its own internal constructs, this embellishment that we discussed earlier. Ascribing this embellishment, this internal constructs, to the object. Yeah. As if these embellishments really belong to it. What is it? It is the object. So we think as if the object has all these embellishments and characteristics. But actually, it's not. It's only what we add on, what the mind adds on to the object. Yeah. We think what we add on to the objects actually intrinsic from the object itself. That is how this deluded mind ascribe the characteristics. Can we find an example? Let's see. Maybe we go back again to, let's say, a lady. You know, the fact that I find a lady is attractive, the word attractive is what my own mind embellish it to the lady. It is not intrinsic from the lady itself. The lady doesn't really have the characteristics of attractiveness. Do you start to see?
Yeah.
Yes, it is only when I perceive the lady, I notice the lady, and then I added on my own mental constructs of, oh, this lady is beautiful, this lady is attractive. But this is actually my own mind internal constructs, putting it on the lady, projecting it to the lady. Yeah. How do we know that the lady doesn't really have its intrinsic attractiveness, let's say a baby looking at a lady, probably he would not directly notice that, oh, this lady is beautiful. And some people, when I tell my, usually I hang out with my friends. When I tell my friends, oh, do you think this lady is pretty? But not all of them agree, So even beauty is subjective, right? Yeah. So what I find beauty is actually my own internal constructs, not something that the objects really belong. Thanks for the question. I think really good question.
Thank you, Marcel.
Okay, welcome, Billy. Okay, Waken.
Yeah, to quickly address Sister Billy's question. Sister Billy said, how could sort of an internal construct sort of belong to an outward object? I think another keyword is as if, right? So it doesn't actually belong to the outward object, but in our mind, to us, in our perception, like it is as if it belongs to that object. So we think that it is really part of the object, that it is a certain way. But much of that is our own imagination, our own construct, and so on.
Okay, thanks for adding on, Waken. Okay, any more comments or questions?
Maybe I just quote another example.
Okay.
So instead of the pretty lady, you just look at the green apple. So I think, like you mentioned, right, babies, when they look at things, and when we look at things, because we already have experience with this object that we see previously. So we see a green apple, sometimes we can salivate because we know that it is sour. Baby who has never tasted the sourness of the green apple, they just see it as an object, as a green apple. So their mind is like purer than us, because without all this previous experience, they don't have all this clinging. So when they look at the apple, they touch the apple, they just look at it as an object, more purer than us, because we already have all these preconception of elaborations of this green apple, last time I buy it is very sour, so it stays there. And the next time I see a green apple, I will have that type of interpretation of it. But the important thing is, it also says that it's not wholly illusion. So the fact that green apple gives sourness, that is not illusion, yeah. So I don't know, I just want to share this.
Okay. Thanks for sharing, Saikem. Yes. I think tomorrow we will explore again the next paragraphs that we read, that Waken reads. But for now, I think it's a good time to stop. 7:58. I just want to show you guys, this one was sent to me by my friends. Let's take a look at the chat. Yeah. Not wholly illusion, yeah. Sometimes it's based on past memory. That's correct. Okay, there is this early Buddhism workshop series, Satipatthana, by Ajahn Brahmali. So it's only day 1 now, but there's 3 more to come. They will live stream on YouTube. Let's see if they have the schedule. Yeah, the second session will be on 27th November, but all of this will be recorded. Yeah, so I think this is a really good resources. Ajahn Brahmali is a really, really great teacher, I think. So it's really worth listening to. So I'll just paste this in the chat, the playlist. Satipatthana workshop playlist. That's all I have today. Does any of you want to share anything related to Saikang's suggestion of exercise? Saikang, you want to share anything?
Anybody tried out the exercise?
Okay.
Okay, never mind. I will just talk about something regarding the seeing instead of thinking. So yeah, from my experience, there's an incident where I went into the lift with a few other people. So I was observing my mind. This couple was beside me, and the lady was wearing something a bit how do I say, low cut.
Low cut.
With, you can see the two breasts popping out. So immediately my mind rejected it, because to me it's something displeasurable. So I started to have this displeasurable thought. So I told myself, I was looking. I'm not supposed to come up with all this. And after a while, miraculously, previously I used to use restraint. That means I will, try to explain things in my mind, that kind of thing. But I was just looking, and then I saw her just carrying the baby. So my attention sort of like shifted to what I'm seeing, a lady carrying a baby, that mother love, that kind of thing. So instead of just looking at the part that I don't like, I suddenly don't have that that ill will towards, or that thought that follows and spin stories and said, I shouldn't wear this type of thing, in public. You want to wear at home, that kind of thought doesn't arise. Yeah, so that is one of the just looking instead of thinking and coming up with perceptions and linked with previous experiences.
Yes.
So I hope you all can put that into practice daily. It is quite interesting, to look at your mind. Yeah, that's why I urge you all to look, just keep looking. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, the part about where being mindful actually snaps away aversion will actually be explored in the paragraphs to come. So that is interesting that Sai Kiang has her own experience. So, well, you don't have to try out the exercise within a day. This is something we can do on a daily basis. So you can try it out any day. Yeah. And then see. Later on, after we started to explore deeper, see if you have any experiences like what Sai Kiang mentioned. Any more comments before we wrap up for this morning? Counting once, counting twice. Okay, if not, let's do a dedication. 厌消三障诸烦恼，厌的智慧真明了，普愿罪障悉消除，时时常行菩萨道。阿弥陀佛。Till we meet again, may we be guided by the Buddha, the Dhamma, and the Sangha. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Have a non-embellishment day ahead. Also, Craig, have you received the book?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, have to thank Sai Kiang. Huh?
Yeah, so thank her.
Yeah. Okay, thanks everyone for participating. See you guys again next time.
Bye. Take care.
Bye. Take care.